Imagine we have like a table and we dump out all the stuff, right? There's like strands of yarn and bolts and whatever everywhere, and you want to sort out all the stuff because you got a lot of stuff going on. Anytime we come in, it's like I bring people into the emergency room, they dump out all their stuff, and now we have to try to like figure out, okay, what's the most important thing here, so we can amplify that thing. And that's all I do. I'm not an idea person. I don't ask you how your weekend was or whatever. I'm just really good at the math of finding the thing that's working and doing more of that.
Hey, how's it going, Dennis? Oh, wonderful. Yeah, pleasure to meet you.
Likewise. Where's Mr. Jack?
Yeah, I know. He's running behind. I'm sure he'll make it. Where are you based out of, by the way?
Vegas.
Ooh, nice. You ever hang out with Formosi?
We were supposed to make videos a couple times ago, but he's busy doing his own thing.
Yeah, that's cool. I was out in Vegas in January for a networking mastermind. Have you heard of David Meltzer? Same name as me, no relation. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's up, guys?
Very cool. Hey, Mr. Jack.
Thanks for meeting up.
Yeah, no, thank you for connecting us. Really appreciate it.
Of course. Well, I really admire both of you, so it was a no-brainer.
Shucks, really appreciate it. Yeah. So I guess so Dennis, do you know how Jack and I ended up meeting?
Tell me.
So basically I went to a have you heard of Cody Sperber or Chris Crone, the real estate guys? Yeah. So they had a conference in Florida in September that I went to, and Jack and I crossed paths there, and we've just been in touch on and off ever since. But I'm a bit of a real estate guy, and have a couple other little tangents I go off on. But Jack is just wonderful, and he told me, we've had some bad experiences with with some gurus, but rising from the ashes and kicking butt in life, I would say. How did you guys get connected?
Well, I want to add two things to that, and then I'll go into how Dennis and I met. One thing, so I actually sat down and had dinner with the CEO of the Clever Investor company, and his girlfriend, who was the event coordinator for that event that we met at. Something you might know, they spent $5 million on that event.
Yeah. Wow.
Isn't that insane? And also, another thing I wanted to add, Eric, and Dennis, you'll recognize this. I actually shouted you out in my book, not by name. I'm writing a book right now with Dennis. He's helping me in the publishing sector. But I was telling about how you spent all this money to go to this conference. And I asked you at one point during the conference, I'm like, how are you going to how do you justify spending all this money at this thing? Like, it wasn't. And you answered, your answer was amazing about investing in yourself and how much value you're going to be able to create from that investment into being able to attend that conference at the highest level. So I just wanted to add that for your clarity, Dennis, and I don't think you knew that either, Eric. So.
Oh, that's really cool. Wow, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. As far as how me and Dennis met, when I first got out of the National Guard, or not out of the National Guard, I'm still in, but out of training, I went down to Nashville to work as the head of relations development at a financial firm named Better Wealth. And my boss and mentor was actually a mentee of Dennis's. So one of the first people that I met through that Better Wealth channel was Dennis. We went to a really nice steak dinner in Nashville, and the rest is history.
A lot of meetings since then.
That's cool. How often do you guys get to connect?
Well, we talk most work days. I'd say we're on a meeting or a phone call, or definitely email correspondence almost five days a week. And then Dennis is actually flying in next week to Minnesota to hang out with me for a few days.
Oh, wow. That's really cool. Gosh. Are you ready for some colds, Minnesota colds?
Minnesota,
actually, it's not too bad. You can see it looks pretty nice right now.
That looks good.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice. Yeah, I'm actually in Brooklyn at the moment. So I live in Washington, D.C., and I actually came up here yesterday. I'm going to a Dave Meltzer networking dinner tonight with a bunch of people. So just spending a couple of days in the big city and heading back home. Yeah.
Dennis, Eric is a masterclass on investing in yourself and in putting forward the capital. He's not afraid to put ahead the capital in order to connect with amazing people. And
Mhm.
I'm sure there's a lot of business opportunities that come out of that.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I would say so. I'm relatively new to entrepreneurship. I got started the start of my entrepreneurial endeavors started when COVID began, basically. My background is TV news, actually, and so I used to be like a
Oh,
cameraman, with reporters in the field driving those big vans with the dishes on top, covering all sorts of good and lots of bad news you can imagine.
yeah.
And then did that for a few years. And then I went to work for a software company that made like specialized software that TV stations use to like write and organize news programs, like video, graphics, all that hoo-ha, robotic camera stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, and so like I traveled around the country, traveled around the world. When TV stations bought it, I would go and train and develop workflow processes, basically. And yeah, so when COVID started, TV stations and the world was stopped, and no travel, no new customers. Everyone was trying to figure out, how do you make the news when you can't go to a building?
Yeah.
And so I was still very much employed, but I had a lot of time on my hands, and I I wasn't really invested in the stock market. I went all in after the COVID market crash happened, and then it shot back up. And then a buddy of mine said, "Hey, why don't you look into real estate investing?" Took a course from a YouTuber, bought an investment property, a duplex in upstate New York, um, and then yeah, just pretty much had the idea. I've also been like a crypto investor for like 7, 8 years. I mean, I
Oh,
was thinking, how can I, bring these together? And anyhow, had one like crypto business thesis, like combining crypto and real estate. It didn't really go anywhere. Uh, and then, and then the universe presented me with some pretty cool opportunities. So I'm working with uh, two clients at the moment. One of them is a beach resort developer in Latin America. So do you know much about like crypto or blockchain?
a little bit.
Okay. So yeah, so we're going to be raising money for them to build a bunch of resorts, um, basically like a timeshare on a blockchain. So think of it like a timeshare that you can buy, sell, and trade without all the scammy, high pressure middlemen,
Right.
basically. Yeah. And then another is just and the bigger project is I'm working with another real estate developer who's going to be building this private country club community with a bunch of jet hangars and its own mini airport. So yeah. And so that project is what led me to go to Florida and meet Jack, because it's a pretty substantial amount of money I'm trying to raise for them. And so just yeah, that's really what led to personal investing, getting in the right room, and yeah, that's one thing led to the next. I've done a lot of like self development inner work over the years. Yeah, I've been a really serious meditator for 25 years now. I do a lot of human rights work that pertains to like Chinese government stuff.
Hmm.
I've done like men's groups and a lot of yeah, just a lot of digging in. I'm not particularly like a high pressure sales guy. Can't really do that.
That's
But
good. We don't like those guys.
but yeah, I enjoy meeting people and just learning about people. That's the journalist in me, and I like connecting people more than anything. And all the technicalities, that's stuff that lawyers can deal with. But I enjoy like legitimate, lasting connections with people, I would say.
Eric, what were you telling me about in Miami? You did like you did the couch surfing thing. You were a host
Oh
for like
yeah.
years.
Oh gosh, yeah. So have you heard of the couch surfing website app
Yeah.
before? Yeah.
Yeah. If you can't afford an Airbnb, you try to sleep on someone's couch, right?
Yeah. So I probably had a couple hundred people stay with me over the years in DC, actually.
Wow.
And
It's
I've made
wild.
some amazing friendships out of it. Yeah. So, yeah, a lot of people I'm still very much in touch with. Yeah. And so sometimes like when I want to go overseas, I just go to visit people who stayed with me that I stay in touch with. Yeah.
You just like to connect with people. I get that sense. It sounds like
Yeah.
the masterminds are your thing too, for meeting people.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I did end up joining Chris Crohn's mastermind. It's I don't really want to focus on negativity, but it's not been a beautiful execution. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and Dennis, you remember me telling you about how horribly that guy treated me?
Oh, that's the guy?
Well, his number two. That's
Oh, okay.
Chris
Well,
Crohn's number two. And so it seems to be a theme, reoccurring theme in that
the
team.
apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
No.
That's a shame.
but the nice thing about it, so like the mastermind has like three key events. And they didn't really create any networking opportunities. They made a Facebook group first that was dead on arrival. Like there's been maybe 10 or 20 posts in September on it, like next to nothing. And most of it are just questions. So at the first event we had in outside Salt Lake, where this guy is based, I just made my own WhatsApp group and I got everyone there to join it, so we can actually, properly network. And yeah, so just kind of took it upon myself, and it's been, that's been a really, really valuable thing. I'm just having that group, and it's not tied to people paying, but we're only inviting people who paid for the mastermind, because it's a certain mindset for people that that throw that kind of money down.
Yep.
And so I think the gist, right? So
Yep. I've gone to dozens of masterminds where you have to pay 50K just to come for the weekend.
yeah,
But I'm a
also,
speaker.
yes, where one would have to, maybe not you.
Yeah, I get the special treatment.
Yeah. What do you speak? I mean, I was doing some Googling about you. I mean, about your marketing. It seems like marketing is your area of brilliance. I mean, I'm talking all too much here.
I'm an engineer. I'm a Chinese guy who's good at math. And when the internet came around 30 some years ago, I applied math to the internet. And this thing that people today call digital marketing or social media or PR or whatever, as far as I'm concerned, is nothing more than the intelligent adjustments of where you put content and how much money you place it, and simple optimization. So nothing has changed in my world in the last 30, 40 years. But
Wow.
for some reason, people call me a digital marketer. It's like weird because, Eric, I've sat in the same spot for 35 plus years. And what used to be called, freaking or webmastering or internet marketing or web this or social media that, like there's a new word for this thing. Now the new one is like AI and ChatGPT, which is just another flavor of the same thing, it's just a fancier regurgitation. So, I mean, you can call me whatever you want, but I'm just an engineer, and I look at everything in terms of where's the data associated with it. And it's a very simple rule. It's 80-20. How do you make more on something that's already working well? Imagine we have like a table and we dump out all the stuff, right? There's like strands of yarn and bolts and whatever everywhere. And you want to sort out all the stuff because you got a lot of stuff going on. Anytime we come in, it's like I bring people into the emergency room, they dump out all their stuff. And now we have to try to like figure out, okay, what's the most important thing here so we can amplify that thing. And that's all I do. I'm not an idea person. I don't ask you how your weekend was or whatever. I'm just really good at the math of finding the thing that's working and doing more of that.
I mean, I am not a math guy by any stretch. My college, I think, had two math classes. There was a minor in science.
No, but it's not even calculus or differential equations. It's simply, of all the things you have going on, wouldn't you want to put more effort on the thing that's doing the best? I mean, how much math is necessary to understand that concept?
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
You could apply it at any level. Let's just say, for example, the high-end fly-in resort, right, with the private airport. And all that. You want to raise money. Okay, well, there's a lot of people who could be part of a syndication, but there's a few people who you'd really want to focus your effort on, right?
Yeah.
And there's a few things that you might do from a marketing standpoint. Not everything, but of the things you could do, which things are the highest priority? That's all. It's this. You can apply it to anything.
Yeah.
Because everything is down to prioritization.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, I mean, you pretty much hit the nail on the head there. Yeah, it's not a, we're getting in the right room is really the crux of it for me. Yeah, just getting in the right room and it's like getting one area that kind of has a lot of different branches, basically just finding those key intersections of the branches has been it.
So what can we do that creates goodness for everyone? Jack, you organize it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I really like Eric's humanitarian work. I think there could be some, I don't know. I'd love to hear more about it and just kind of his process and like what he's doing. And I know he's told me that he's in contact with a lot of people at the Pentagon. Did you tell me? That's correct, right, Eric?
Yeah, that's me. Yep.
Yeah, and so I think that that's cool, and I just love to hear more about it all. I just think what you do is super interesting from the humanitarian work to what you do on the professional side as well.
Yeah. So as far as the humanitarian, it depends. It can sometimes be a little bit polarizing. Have you heard of the Falun Gong before?
Yes.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah.
Wow, you're a white guy there advocating what the Chinese government's doing and harvesting organs and doing bad things against dissidents. Wow.
Yeah, pretty much.
You speak Chinese?
Enough to be dangerous, but not really. I can know if someone's talking about me, but what they're saying.
Okay. All right. That's okay. Yeah. The Falun Gong and the Uyghurs, and there's a lot of people you don't want to be right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So
China's hiding a lot of bad things they're doing. You know, I'm not a political person, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
There's some atrocities for sure.
Yeah. I mean, here in DC, so one of the reasons I moved to DC was just to be able to do some lobbying, and we're pretty like down the middle. We lobby both sides, and we get support from the left and the right. We're not. Yeah, there is no like. There's other people in town. I mean, I would say we Falun Gong as a group we don't take like a side of like, oh, we only work with Democrats or only work with Republicans. We get along with both sides really quite well. Yeah. So, but sure, I mean, there are people in town here who do the lobbying work. Yeah, I mean, all of it's just like a pro bono passion project. It's not a full-time job. Sometimes can be a lot of work, but it's definitely like not how people put food on the table. So,
well, you've got so many things going on. These 2 development projects, which sounds like you would need a whole team behind anyway, even though you're a connector.
Yeah.
But you're a Sotheby's real estate.
Yeah.
You got a bunch of things going on. So but you're one guy, right? I don't get the sense you have this team around you.
No, not really.
How do you manage all that?
Well, the Sotheby's stuff is just kind of a part-time. If I meet someone that I can help, I help, but I'm not actively like doing the whole, I do a bit of marketing. I do just some organic marketing, going to events. I just always go and meet people. So out of like events I go to, every once in a while will meet someone, but I'm not like a high volume, hot shot local guy at Sotheby's in town. It's just a side thing, and I like being affiliated with the name. So with the real estate cap raise stuff, I mean that's it's kind of a hurry up and wait sort of thing. So basically we're getting close to getting the pitch decks finalized and good enough for investor presentations. Like the decks that I was presented with needed a lot of massaging. Storytelling is my forte. And so I move pretty fast. Other people don't necessarily move as fast. So it's a lot of hurry up and wait. So it's not like, oh, I'm putting in, 8 hours a day for each of these projects. It's all at this point, it's all kind of part-time so I mean, they're not all like full-time endeavors. So
because you had to raise the money to the point where you can actually activate it anyway. You're still at the fundraising stage.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, and my company is me right now with my cap raise. There are people I want to be able to bring in along for the ride. But I haven't made any money off it yet. I've just been investing in it. And but we're looks like we're getting close to seeing a catalyst for some money landing in the bank account. So yeah.
I wonder, Dennis, if getting some VAs for Eric would be a valuable tool.
Well, VAs are only as good as how you direct them. So Eric's an interesting bird. You have your media background and TV and AWS certifications and real estate and masterminds and now this fundraising thing and the Falun Gong. There's so many aspects here I mean, VAs can help, but VAs are an amplifier. You want to amplify, right?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I don't think I need amplification at the moment. It's yeah, yeah. There,
What's the pain point?
the pain point is getting like the real estate developers to move as fast as me. Not much I can do with that, but it's like, hey Eric, can you work on da 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 da? Yes, here it is, it's done. Okay, we'll get back to it when we have a chance.
Right.
And so it's not something a VA could really help with, right?
Yeah.
That makes
I
sense.
mean, yes and no, but okay, so you've got these pitch decks for both of these projects, and not to go into like the details of what makes each of these strong, but is there like a lead investor where everyone's like, well, if this guy's investing, then I can confidently invest alongside them, or they're developer, they've already done these things. Like, there's some slam dunk advantages in there.
Yeah, sure. So is there a lead investor? No, because they're not ready to pitch anyone yet. So that's pretty much the network I've been building. And so when the decks are ready, then we start trying to find those. Well, I have a bit of an investor network myself I've been building up since last fall. And that's where we find out who our slam dunk investors are going to be. But I have a bunch of like points that branch out with some pretty good networks.
But your point, your part in all this is the fundraising.
Yeah, my part in this is the fundraising, basically. Yeah. For the beach resort, I'm also gonna be, well, I'm going to bring on a dev shop that's going to do the blockchain development, so that people can like buy, sell, and trade these timeshares. They're going to be NFT smart contracts if you have familiarity with them. Right. Yeah, but it's the dev work for that is a matter of months. It's not it's pretty minimal. The cost for the dev work, I don't know, ballpark's going to be like $100K. It's not an expensive endeavor that we're doing as far as the dev work goes. So
you were fortunate. You got involved in crypto, you said 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah, I bought it. I bought Bitcoin when it was like 8K. I sold it at cost, but I still have all my ETH that I got at like $400. So
nice.
Yeah,
so
that's a pretty good ROI.
Yeah.
So you can play a little bit. So that's
nice. I play a little bit of casino. I did 50, $100 and like a dozen, just altcoins that are like AI gaming coins.
Yeah.
But I'm not expecting to, retire off my crypto investments. Yeah.
But you're gambling with the house's money at this point, so that's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. But I mean, what keeps you busy these days?
I just had a webinar with Perry Marshall. He's the guy who created the 80-20 rule, and him and Richard Koch are billionaires and done some crazy things. And I was the MC at his last 2 conferences of all the top people in AI. He wanted me to be the MC. I'm like, I'm just some random guy. Why would you have me? But we just did a whole webinar, and it's about how he started it off by showing a Hot Wheels track, like this colorful, with the loop. You have the car here.
Yeah.
And then you press the button and it goes through the loop, right? And then shoots off the other side. And he said that we are approaching this loop here, and you're either going to like not have enough power and fall off the track, or you can exit with momentum on the other side. And he has a very thoughtful approach to AI. And we know a lot of people in the engineering and technology space about this. So we're trying to leverage this in every way possible to help out a lot of the local businesses that we know. So that's the largest, easiest to help segment, because plumbers and real estate agents and landscapers and electricians and whatever, they are not prepared. And they're, most people aren't even aware of the change that's happening. So having friends like Jack and other people like Jack that can help build out these tools and systems, and eventually a whole ecosystem, creates a lot of jobs in the Philippines, in Pakistan, in America. And I just want to see 1 million jobs created. We've created 250,000 jobs so far, which is great. We have a lot of great relationships with other countries where they invite us in to teach and do this kind of thing. And I just want to see this thing, it's like Elon Musk wants to go to Mars. I want to see the 1 million jobs, right? I want to see a true system of measurement and certification, because I'm a data, math kind of guy. I want to flush all the idiots out of the swamp because that's what most of the high ticket, you can be successful online, whatever stuff is. We know a lot of these people.
And the thing is, they are really making money. That's probably the worst part for me, is these all these experts. They
That's the
actually are making
unfortunate
money.
turd in the punch bowl. The easiest way to make money online is to sell courses on how to make money online.
Yep.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And these people come to me because I have a reputation for helping out a lot of the good people in the space.
Yeah. No, I gotcha. What I would love to know, like, are you going to speak in any conferences like stateside? Anything in like the
Yeah,
next
we got
couple of
50
months? I would love
conferences
to.
this year.
Oh, that's all.
Yeah. Jack, you got access to my calendar, right? You can see what all the different dates are and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'd love to come to like some of your conferences and actually just properly get to meet you. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be cool. And Jack's going to come speak at some of these too.
Oh, wow.
We even
even better.
finagled High Rise Influence to be one of the enterprise sponsors. So on the main stage, the big logo in the back, and
Yeah.
get a booth, and that whole kind of thing.
Oh gosh,
And
yeah,
our
Jeff, you got to
software will be
tell me
ready
when you're
by then,
speaking.
right?
Yeah,
Sounds good.
please. No, that would be amazing. Yeah, I love I love traveling, and I don't travel as much as I used to, so I love a good excuse.
Yeah. But you're I would think, Eric, not to like say this the wrong way, but for someone who goes to these high-end masterminds and has so many things blossoming, why don't you rank on Eric Meltzer? Why don't we see more on Eric Meltzer when we Google you or look you up?
Ooh,
Wouldn't it be better
yeah.
to improve that? Anyone who's working, they meet you at a mastermind and they look you up or whatever, and they see, oh, this is Eric Meltzer. Dang. Okay.
Oh,
This is Plutus Properties. Oh, all right. Well, these guys are a big deal.
that's a very fair point.
Right. And a lot of people
Yeah.
say, oh, it's because I'm humble and I don't really focus on myself, or the
Yeah, I
common
mean,
son
that's
has no
not it.
shoes, or
Yeah. I mean, so the way that I've thought about it, and this is the so with the big country club project, for example, it's not due to like securities laws. I can't go and like blast it, because I'm not a licensed broker dealer. I don't know if you're familiar
Right.
with that stuff.
Right.
So I can't be like publicly advertising and say, oh, I'm working on this project. And it's a similar with the beach stuff.
Sure.
I'm kind of just being rather careful due to securities laws. I do plan on getting my
Right.
broker dealer license once we get some momentum on these, but that's totally one of the reasons why I'm not blasting it on social, like, oh yes, we're
Right.
now, Plutus is now working with this developer on da da da. Like, the way I'm legally able to do it is just make an introduction and step away. Doesn't mean I can't help prep for the pitch, but I can be involved in the pitch itself.
Oh, okay. So independent of, securities regulations not being able to
Yeah.
talk about the deal, when you meet people
Mhm.
in Miami at these masterminds or whatnot,
Yeah.
why don't you do like what Jack and I do, where you have a podcast, you just interview them for 5 minutes on your cell phone, and then we distribute that, and that builds your network, and there's no securities violations, broker dealer.
Oh no, yeah.
It's easy to do.
Oh yeah.
And then you get a knowledge panel like Jack and I have.
Oh, wow.
So when you
Okay.
Google me or him, you see all the colored boxes pop up, right?
Yeah. Well, interestingly enough, I did have a podcast. So I used to have a business partner at the time. Well, we've since divorced. But when we were together, I actually did do a podcast, and I was interviewing people for that. But anyhow, I gave him, I did less than 10 on that end. I said, fine,
Yeah.
you can have him, I'm totally able to do that. I have the setup, and I'm totally good to do that stuff. So
I mean, you're going to meet Meltzer. Why not get him
Sure.
for a few minutes? People will get confused, right, with the name. What Meltzer
Yes.
are you?
Meltzer Square. That can be your the name of your podcast. I see it already.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a great idea, actually. Huh. Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm going to be meeting in the next couple of hours. Yeah, a bunch of very interesting people. Have you ever been to Dave's events before?
No, I've only talked to him once.
Cool. Yeah, he brings in like fantastic people, and he has a really big heart, and really brings out the best in people. Is what I've seen.
Tell me, or tell Dennis what you told me, if you haven't already, about his speaking fee is 6 figures, but then his private coaching is like
Yeah.
$1,500 a month or something.
Yeah. So David Meltzer's just conference speaking fee is $100,000, and for one-on-one coaching is $1,500 a month. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
pretty common.
Oh, that's common, Dennis.
Really?
I was thinking that's just like a good Samaritan, kind of like he just wants to really help people. Is that a pretty common thing?
I mean, private coaching is typically not going to be 1,500 a month. That's a group coaching kind of price. Because if you're charging 100 for a keynote, then you'll probably take private clients at, 20 a month, something like that, and then have other
Mm.
coaches that are certified, kind of the Tony Robbins model that all the other guys
Yeah.
follow.
No, this is I call and text Dave. Like it's calls with him. Yeah, there is no one else.
Oh, well, okay. Well, that is
Yeah.
a little unique. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He seems
Um,
more accessible than I would have thought. But I've noticed that over the years. I wonder how he does that. How do you have time? He's there's so many people. He's like the switch or the hub where all these people are going through. It just feels like there'd be too much friction going through that point. How does he do that?
well,
Because
no, I mean, yeah. Like when I asked about doing the one-on-one, they said, "Oh, there's usually a wait list." Yeah, my wait list was like 2 days.
Well, that sounds like arbitrage to me.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you leverage that? Just have him on your podcast. Think of a list of questions you want to ask.
Cool. Oh, heck yeah. That makes too much sense.
All these things to
yeah,
build your credibility. It can only
Yeah.
help you,
Yeah.
even though you hurry up and wait, for these papers to be ready and all that.
Yeah. That's brilliant. Um, the other thing that I've going, another little side hustle. So do you know Hormozi's platform School,
Yeah.
SKOOL? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I made my own little school community that I'm about to start advertising. I shot some footage for an ad. It's
Okay.
basically travel tips for business consultants. So I
Okay.
used to, travel for work, and it's not like get a $20,000 flight for $100. It's like if you travel for work, here's how you can be more comfortable,
Yep.
basically. So yeah. So anyhow, so my goal is just to have it be a side hustle. Like, if I'm able to get, I don't know, like 5 or 10K a month would be an absolute joy. It's just something I find fun. And I was gonna have like weekly calls where people can just
Yeah.
come and ask me travel questions and like, hey, what would you do in this scenario?
Yeah.
That's pretty much, yeah, it's just a little thing. But yeah, I'm not looking into make it a whole huge enterprise, but it's something I just enjoy talking about. And I thought, why not? So, I did the recording, I built it up. I mean, if you want, I'm happy to give like both of you access to it if you want, if you're
yeah,
curious.
Sure.
I'd love to
Sure.
see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I'm
think,
always.
Eric, just to fill you in, I don't know how much I've told you about High Rise Influence, my company,
No, not
but
much actually.
everything that me and Dennis are talking about right now with your I hate using the word personal branding because there's a lot of like what Dennis was saying, the swamp.
Yeah.
Me and Dennis's expertise really are one of them is SEO and PR. And there is such a swamp in both of those industries. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And so I don't really love using that word, especially because that was the word that I was using with the Chris Crone team. And I had a very bad experience, as you know. But in essence, that's what it is. And building out networks, building out influence. That's why I named it High Rise Influence. And everything that we structure, our packages, our game plan is all architectural terms. So like my lowest product that me and Dennis are working on launching is the blueprint, and the highest product is the penthouse. And so it's like this picture of like a high rise
Mhm.
skyscraper, and that's kind of the influence of the no pun intended the influence of the naming and why I built that company. But it's super exciting to see that you can kind of see the game plan and what we sell and what we do and what we build out for people just from this conversation, which is really cool.
Well, I had no idea. I didn't know you were doing that, Jack. That's really cool, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to fill you in actually. So High Rise, I just told you about that. I've been building that out for about 5 months now, and it's doing really well. I also bought into just sweat equity. I own 49% of a coaching company for tree service companies.
Hmm.
So the idea is a bunch of these tree service and landscaping companies, these guys are really good at what they do, but they're not so good at sales, business operations, and just business philosophies as a whole. And so
Hmm.
that's where we step in and help them. We build out tools for them to be able to price. We build out sales strategies. We build out CRMs, websites for them, all this stuff, and help them
Yep.
with their SEO, Google My Business. And then I think I told you about the private equity firm that I'm
Yes.
consulting at. It's a joy. It's super fun. Uh, and so those are kind of my three main things right now. And then with Dennis, I'm getting into speaking. I'm writing a book. So trying to work on, we got to practice what we preach, right? Me and Dennis say this all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so for me to have a web presence or some sort of authority or influence, as we say, those are really, really crucial tools that we use in order to deliver those results.
Wow. That's real. I
Even
had
my
no
website
idea.
is built on our platform, right? Everyone uses the same tools and foundational items. And so we're just building better and better software that connects all these. It's like the Microsoft Office of, I don't want to say Microsoft Office because then there's like bad connotations.
Yeah, I gotcha.
There's
That's
a lot
really
of stuff
cool.
to structure your relationships and your achievements and where you've spoken and, all of these things that enhance your credibility, tying back to your business and who you are and what you stand for.
Yeah, gosh. You totally just set a light bulb off my head. I actually brought, just talking about cell phone, I actually bought my two wireless lav clip mics, so I can totally just, hey, da da da, would you mind, can we talk for 2 minutes? And so I can throw it on my,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's that easy. But then as you collect these pieces, you have to organize them.
Sure.
So that the structure is called, Google has something called the knowledge graph, which is the database of all these objects, and you want to connect them together in a certain way. There's Google Schema. There's other sorts of ways that you technically organize them. And that's one of the things that we have automated a lot of.
That's hot.
We also have a free
cool.
ebook site. We have the #1 free ebook site on the internet with 500,000 visitors a day, and a few other sites too that have a lot of traffic. So we do have a few weapons in our arsenal.
And I hope it took me a long time, Eric, to be able to kind of see the big picture of like what we're trying to do at Blitz Metrics and High Rise Influence.
Yeah.
But it's so cool. So essentially what we're trying to do, it's this huge feedback loop. So you know how Uber is this double-sided marketplace where there's the drivers and then there's the riders, and then Uber is just the software in between that.
Yes, the middleman. Yeah.
We're trying to be the person, the Uber of digital marketing and influence and networking. We're trying to have it's trying to create a double marketplace in these sectors. And I mean, Dennis, correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't really seen anyone do it.
It's really hard to do to pull off a two-sided network because you have to be strong in both supply and demand. And we happen to be really strong on both. We're strong on the supply side because of our connections in developing countries. Let's just call those things developing countries, right? And we also speak at a lot of conferences, are involved in a lot of professional organizations teaching, the real estate agents and plumbers and all this. And so this allows us to bring it all together.
Dennis, I think Eric would be really interested to hear about what you've done with other countries with kings and princes and queens and all these crazy stories that you tell me all the time. I think he would love that.
I'm not a name dropper, but I have been very fortunate to be with kings and queens of other countries. Like I remember one time the Queen of Malaysia invited me because she had this health issue, and a friend of mine who's a high-end doctor who does oxygen therapy was able to help her overcome a stroke. She wasn't able to walk and talk, and all the tabloids thought that, she was gone. But I was out there in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur, and she invited all these kings and queens from other countries too. Because, whether you judge these people or not, like in those kinds of countries, it's a kleptocracy where like a few people own everything, okay? Sure. And I don't judge. I mean, that is what it is.
It is what it is.
Well, Eric knows the Saudis, so he...
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
He's
right?
not new to the idea.
I was staying at the nicest hotel in the middle of downtown, and the Queen's sister comes by and says, "Hey, where are you staying?" "Oh, I'm staying at the Four Seasons," or whatever it is. Like, "Oh, I own that." "Okay." And then where are you at the top floor? She's like, "I own that, and that, and that, and that." And like, you own half of downtown already, right? Like, what are you talking about? I said, "Well, I'm going to build another hotel. Should I put it in Paris or London? What do you think?" "I don't know. Put it in London. I'm not qualified to give you advice." But the funny thing, this, Eric and Jack too, from being around these people, when you're around some of these people, they start introducing you to their other friends. And then pretty soon, like what I say is that when you get into the hub of the wheel, all the spokes emanate out from there. So,
and that's what my book is about.
I've had, just to show you how randomly, like I had a health scare a few years ago, and I had this moment where like if you don't lose weight or whatever, you need to like take care of your health because whatever. So I started, what was it? How did this one happen? Anyway, I'm not a health expert. I'm not a medical doctor. Any of these high-end people have no reason to spend any time with me. I'm just some random entrepreneur guy, right? But because I had a relationship with Dr. Philip Ovadia and I had him on my podcast so I could selfishly ask him all kinds of questions about metabolic health, he really liked that. And then all these other doctors that are friends with him, because he's like the nation's #1 heart surgeon, then all of them started. So then I've interviewed all the top guys in modern medical health, in functional medicine, in stem cells,
Wow.
in HRV, in IV therapy, and whatever. And I don't know anything. I've interviewed Tony Robbins, top medical guy. I mean, because they see who else I'm with. Uh-oh. They see who else I'm. They think, well, this guy must be legit because look at how connected he is in that space.
Yeah.
Just like in the whole entrepreneur, whatever, scale your business, digital marketing. Like I'm known in that space. And so that's where all the kings and queens and billionaires and like, oh, Dennis knows more billionaires than anyone else I know. Like, yeah, okay.
I got you, man.
But,
No,
but you see what I'm saying? Like that's the
I
whole
totally
thing.
get it. That's the thing, right?
Mastermind is a concentrator of relationship authority that allows you, if you can choose who you want to connect with, it allows, it allows you faster access, but you have to be cognizant and very thoughtful of how you want to direct it, right?
Sure. Yeah, makes too much sense. Very cool. Very cool. I do need to get going. I'm due to meet David Meltzer in like 45 minutes and to get a move on in a few minutes, so I'm not late.
Yeah. Well, pitch him the idea of him being on your podcast, but then you have to think of what's the purpose of your podcast?
Sure.
And then how does he fit into that? And you can ask ChatGPT, to guide you through that.
Yeah. No, that's easy. I mean, I would dare to say I'm a pretty decent storyteller and pretty good at that stuff. So yeah, I love podcasting. It's fun.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, and that's as you progress, that's definitely something we can help you on with strategies and whatever it is, Eric.
Yeah. I'm delighted to know that that's what you're working on, Jack. I had no idea.
Yeah, that's why we needed to have this meeting. This has been a blast.
That's right. You can be a client of High Rise Influence, Mr. Eric.
Hey, let's find a way to make it work.
I'll send over an email, and we should also just kind of next steps.
Yeah.
It'd be great to see you in person again, Eric. And so I'll send you over that those conferences that we're planning to go to, and
please
pick a few, and we'll meet up there.
Yeah, we're in DC multiple times.
Oh, cool.
I think they have it at the Washington, DC Hilton.
Yeah, that's where a lot of conventions are. I live 5 minutes from there. That's pretty easy.
Amazing.
Cool.
Well, gentlemen, excited for the future.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Jack. Like, I am just so grateful. I am like, Dennis, I really, 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 really appreciate your time. This has been like just such a delight. And yes, you've knocked my socks off and just totally surprised and wowed me.
I knew that this was going to be a banger. So thank you, Eric. And thank you, Dennis.
Awesome, gentlemen. Well, good luck with David Meltzer.
Thank you. Yes, I'll definitely do some pitching. Yeah, get some people on the podcast.
Cool.
Let's do it.
Cool, guys. All right. Thank you again so much. I'm so grateful. Like, seriously.
Excited for it.
Awesome,
guys. Again. All right. Wonderful. All right. Thank you so much. We'll be in touch soon. Okay.
Yep. Dennis, stay on for just 1 minute.
All
right. Thank you again.
Thanks, Eric.
All right. Bye.
What'd you think?
I think he's a crypto bro that made some money, but doesn't have execution power. And so he really needs implementation. So the personal brand thing, the high rise influence, those packages, that'll help him. But he's going to need, yes, he'll need VAs, but he doesn't really understand that quite yet because he's been able to just network by going to masterminds or being able to text David. But at some point, he's going to realize that that just doesn't scale. And he is an abundant mindset, mastermind kind of guy. You can tell the way people talk and the way they approach these things, like how he does this. But he could be a more powerful networker and businessman across all of his initiatives if we just structured his topic wheel. I tried to figure out what it is in the last couple of days, and it is a dog's breakfast of random stuff, what he has. It is not connected. And I didn't want to insult him, but I think he would agree that that's true.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Cool.
So he's pretty easy to help. The only thing is that it's better when you amplify someone who has an existing business that operates by itself, that doesn't require him, like people we know that run roofing businesses or whatever business, they can step away from the business and the business is an asset that continues to operate. He doesn't really have that. And the two developments that you talked about, they could be something awesome. He must be such a good relationship builder to get these other developers to agree that he's the fundraising guy when he doesn't even have a license and he doesn't appear to have done this, international
Yeah.
development stuff. And this high-end
That's
development is very, that is very esoteric and very niche. And
yeah.
I
And
know
that's
a few
what
of the
didn't really
people,
connect for me. Like, how are you doing this?
I know a few people in this space, a few of these billion-dollar developers, and they all intersect with Peter Diamandis, Tony Robbins, and a couple other people in the mastermind kind of space because these billionaires, they want the best in health, the best in security, the best for their family, the best ranches, the best food, the best, and so they naturally attract these sorts of people that I happen to go to these masterminds and meet the same people.
Yeah.
And by the way, anyone who goes to one mastermind, Jack, they're almost always in three or four other masterminds.
Yep.
And they do it because they want to connect. And you can see, like, this guy wants to connect so bad. He even created a whole group when Chris or whatever didn't do a proper job of bringing people
Yeah.
together. So he's a connector. And I think he does
Yeah,
it
and it's
instinctively.
authentic too, because like just with the couch surfing thing, like it's
That's
just who
true.
he is.
Yeah.
There was no benefit, there was no exchange for couch surfing. Like
No.
he didn't receive anything from that. It was, I mean, he did, but it
But
was
he's
just
kept in touch over time. Yeah.
yeah, it was just the connection. So
Yeah.
it's super authentic, and that's why I really enjoy him.
I think he's a long-term player. I think it's as long as he has the expectation, there's no immediate ROI, which is what masterminds are about anyway. This is basically like multiplying the power of the masterminds he has. That's the way to look at it.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think it could work well. Then it's just a matter of managing expectations and then getting him to produce the content, which sounds like he already had a podcast before. He said he's a good storyteller.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. You think it could be a, I mean, I haven't really, I've never even, like, he didn't even know about high res influence. I've never pushed for him being a client before,
right,
but
right.
you think he could be a good candidate?
As long as we're clear on the expectations.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, it's always because the internet marketers will promise the world, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, yes, we have to deliver, but delivery plus expectations have to meet.
Cool.
Yeah, that's cool. He's a cool guy. Even at just that, meeting cool people. I like that.
Yeah. That's what I hope that this meeting at the bare minimum could be. And I told you that. It's like, if nothing comes out of it, then it's just I think he's just a cool connection.
Yeah, you never know. People in the DC area, you never know who they're connected. I mean, the Falun Gong thing could get him in trouble because you got to be careful about,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
bad talking about China or saying anything public about China. Kind of don't want to touch
He
that.
already
But
said that he could never go back to China.
yeah, because he would be detained and
Yeah.
all that. Yeah.
So, well, what else do you have on the docket for today?
Let's see. We have our coaching thing in an hour. I'm interviewing Stuart Draper an hour after that. He's the founder of Stu Kent and a bunch of Silicon Valley, Utah Silicon Slope stuff.
Cool.
There's a professor from Gonzaga. I'm going to talk to him. He wants me to teach or guest lecture, whatever. And then another home service business, I guess, in a couple hours. So yeah, I've been doing a lot of these audits. It's good. Then sending them off to Parker and Marco and these other people.
I called Parker for about 30 minutes the other day. It was cool.
Oh, really?
Yep.
What happened there?
Just we just kind of got to know each other a little bit. Seems like a cool guy.
Yeah.
Um, and just open the floodgates for partnerships in the future.
Yeah.
So
I think there's a lot we could do with Sean Clonger, bro. How do you say his name?
Klongerbo, yeah.
And Anthony.
Yeah, I
Both
agree.
as
I agree.
Anthony is a $7 million tree service company or whatever,
Yeah.
with lots of other sub companies.
Also, one thing I got the thumbs up on getting AT off annual training the 2 weeks.
Oh, good.
So we can plan that trip out too.
Cool. So when I see you in a week, we can start figuring out all the dates and things
Yeah.
to. Yeah, I think Europe is great. There's a lot of stuff we could do in Europe, and if there's enough time, we could stop over in Asia. I don't want to do too many cities at once because then you end up spending more time in transit than actually enjoying things.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But have you been to any of the Broadway shows, like in New York or London, or
Never.
have you seen like Phantom of the Opera or Les Mis or Beauty and the Beast or any of that?
No. Well, like the movies.
Yeah.
None
What do you
of
think?
yeah, I'm super interested. I would love to go to I've actually wanted to for a few months. Um, I had a connection when I was out in Utah, and he went to every single show. He'd fly out for every show.
I think you would really like that.
Yeah,
There's
that'd
so
be
many
cool.
things that you don't even know you don't know about until you
Yeah.
experience them. And then I bought annual passes for the Coliseum, whatever thing, because I brought Danny to Rome
Mm-hmm.
a couple months ago, and they didn't have any tickets. The only way to get in is you had to buy like a patron annual sponsor pass, whatever, to be
Mm.
able to get in that day because we were flying out the next day. But we can go see all the Roman ruins.
Yeah, I would love. I mean, I'm obsessed with Roman culture, so
Yeah, and there's just so much there. And then being, in the summer-ish, there's a lot of cool hiking. I was thinking we could do the Italian Dolomites,
oh yes,
the Via Ferrata.
yes, that would be amazing.
You understand how the Via Ferrata works?
No,
Okay. So have you seen Cliffhanger with Sylvester Stallone?
I have not. No.
Have you seen any of these like crazy rock climb, like the professional rock climbers that are up on these like steep
Yeah.
things of like 2,000
Yep.
feet? Well, the Via Ferrata is a series of these like the railings that are you'd otherwise have to be a professional climber with all the gear and all that kind of stuff. But ordinary amateur people like you and I, we wear these harnesses, and then we have these two hooks. And so we can go from section to section, and we're always hooking into the next section.
I would love that, Dennis.
And we can climb, and it looks dangerous. It looks really scary, but it's actually super safe
Yeah.
as long as
Well,
you follow the
you know
rules.
me, I have no problem with heights. You know about the, I've
Okay.
told you about the cell towers and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. So there's that. I mean, there's a lot of places I want to hit that I think would be fantastic.
That would be a
And
blast.
then we can create content at the same time. So I consider that a workation. We're
Yeah.
having fun, but we're also talking to clients. And Europe is great because during the day, Jack, we can go do stuff. And then we come back, and that's when America's starting to wake up. So we could just do, 2 or 3 hours of calls in the evening.
Yeah.
And then
Amazing.
this can be sustained basically indefinitely.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then once you discover this, some people call this the laptop lifestyle, but those people in Bangkok or whatever, they're trying to, Thailand, they're
Ollie.
trying to do it for super cheap. Yeah. They do it because it's cheap, but they don't understand how to actually structure a business. The irony is that without the structure, you can't have the freedom. So
So
that's why having
true.
software and VAs and all that allows us to have that freedom.
Hmm. Amazing.
But we're just like right on the verge of having that, getting these systems in place and delivering value for these people, which creates ongoing value, which then, we charge for, even though the work effort is more at the beginning and it starts to taper off, but we still make money. It's the whole point
Yeah.
of passive income, that kind of thing. The power around the lighthouse,
Cool.
leveraging our assets. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, well, I won't take any more of your time, but
Oh, it's always good to see you. You're not taking any of my time. It's always good
Yeah.
to see you.
good.
Yeah.
Good.
Cool, Jack.
Good to see you, Dennis. Excited to see you next week.
Yeah. Yeah. We're going to get a lot of stuff done.
It'll be fun.
All right.
Oh, also, I really want to focus on, I mean, we'll focus on a ton of stuff, but tree savages, I would really love some help there.
Let's do it.